I'm trying to make an episode on something I really want to talk about today, but I don't like following a specific structure. I don't like being structured when it comes to such topics. I want it to just come out of my head and my mouth without me following notes that I've made or research and stuff like that. I want to talk about healing because I am going through that phase of healing from something, and I want to talk about what I've been experiencing. But then I feel like for me to talk about all of these things, I also need a structure, but I hate structure. So I want to talk about my experience. And I just don't know how to put two and two together and make it one. I'm struggling. I've been trying to make segments. I think I've made about 5 segments already. And every time I just hate how it turns out. I don't like how it looks. But I chose healing today because I've just been realizing a lot of things that I've been hurt so much in the past by life, by people, by myself. I hurt myself a lot. I overthink probably all the time, and I always hurt myself with what I think. And I've been hurt by people, I've been hurt by the things that I went through, but I realized that I've healed and I've changed also in the process. And I also realized that my healing was not a straight, predictable path. It came with waves and it's still coming with waves. But then what I'm also realizing in this moment right now that people don't understand because I deal with my pain and my healing differently. So people tend to think that whatever I'm going through, they tend to think that okay, you're very moody, you're very chaotic or whatever you guys think. Not that I care, but something happened and I felt like I needed to talk about it. But anyway, like I said, the craziest part about healing, whether it's emotional, psychological, or even physical, is it often revolves around its non-linear nature. Non-linear nature, I mean that it doesn't follow a straight or predictable path. It's not a straight line. You may feel like you're making progress, then suddenly you experience a setback, which I like to call waves. It has triggers. Sometimes you get triggered by something and then you remember your past pains and then you start all over again. Sometimes it feels like you're going backwards instead of moving forward again. And healing isn't forgetting, it means you just carry on living differently. It doesn't mean you will never feel hurt again. It just means you don't control, it doesn't control you anymore. The person healing isn't the same person who got hurt. So yeah, like I said, it's completely normal. I mean, one thing that I've realized during therapy is that therapists will always tell you that whatever you're going through, it's completely normal. It's okay for you to be feeling this. I hate it so much when they say that. Gosh, I do not like it. One thing about me is if something doesn't stimulate me in any way, I do not want to be a part of it at all. And that's one thing that I realized in therapy. So they will tell you, like, I don't know how to stress this enough, but you just sit there and you talk about, okay, I'm going off topic. Anyway, we'll come to the therapy part later. Let's talk about healing first. I'm getting excited just thinking about this. Anyway, one thing that y'all also need to know, or something that I've realized, is healing is very painful, bruh. It's literally the most painful thing that you'll ever have to go through. Like, often to heal, you have to confront the very things that caused you pain in the first place. And that is not a beautiful thing. It's incredibly difficult and very uncomfortable. It's a very uncomfortable process. You do not want to be going back and revisiting all the things that caused you pain so that you can heal from them. But I feel like with me it's very toxic because sometimes I put myself in crazy situations just so I can experience something and then heal and then learn from it. It's so crazy. It's like when I know that When I know that if I go through, I'm giving a very obvious example. When someone has hurt you, or let's say relationship wise, or actually this is what I used to do in the past, it would hurt when I think about the guy, and I'll tell myself, I'm still hurting from him. Let me hurt even more. I'll go back to his Facebook page, I'll go back to his Instagram page, and then I would see that he's still dating probably the same person he cheated on me with, or he's still flirting with other girls, or he's still the same person, or he's still doing something that I said hurts me, and then it hurts me again. And then I know that next time when I go back, I won't feel the same pain that I'm feeling right now, which has been kind of like a toxicity that I kind of had within me. And yeah, I guess I just caused myself pain. I put myself in uncomfortable situations because I knew for me, growth did happen in uncomfortable situations. But anyway, it could also be emotional healing, for example. It means facing past traumas for you to have that emotional pain and then overgrow it. This is actually crazy, but it just goes to prove that healing is very painful. It's very painful, like crazy. And it's also very unpredictable. You can do all the right things and still have your bad days. There is no set timeline to healing. One thing that I always tell or always say to my friends is they tend to put a timeline on my pain. I will be fine. I'm here to tell you that I'll be fine today. I'll be so fine. I'll be so happy and I'll be over the moon. But then in an hour or two, I'll be the most broken person you've ever seen. I'll be so distressed. Okay, okay, fine. I think I just told y'all that I have mood swings and stuff like that. But this is just an example that there's no timeline. I could be going through something today, in a week, in 2 weeks, in a month, but that doesn't mean that because there's time that the time has passed and it's been a few days prior to the incident or whatever that I am fine now. I could be fine for a week, but then the next week I'm not. Do not put a timeline on my pain. People will tell you things like, oh, let it go, move on. I thought you overcome this already. It's not that deep. It is deep for me. It is deep for me. Pain does come in waves, like I said on the first, you know, during the first minutes of this episode. It comes in waves. You could feel like you're okay right now, and then you're not the next day. You could literally just be sleeping and then you wake up with a broken heart. I woke up sad not so long ago. I took a nap and I woke up sad, and that's how I came about with this whole episode on healing. I woke up really broken. I was like, I don't even understand why I'm feeling sad right now. I tend to have these waves of emotions that just come unexpectedly. And usually, most of the time, I feel like it's either I thought of something or I dreamt of something that triggered my past traumas and stuff. And now I don't know how to deal with what I'm feeling right now because I don't know what caused it. So I cannot tell you why I woke up sad in the morning or not so long ago. I don't know. I also don't know. I'm also failing to understand why I'm feeling this way right now. But I can only assume that, okay, maybe in my dream something happened and I got triggered and now I'm waking up with that pain. I honestly don't know, you know? So there's no set timeline for healing. It will happen eventually and you might never have to feel whatever you're feeling. I'm contradicting myself a lot right now and I'm overthinking a lot. I'm thinking, damn, what if I'm actually telling people things that they know? But I need to also always remind myself that I am doing this for me. The whole idea of me podcasting was for it to be a form of therapy for me because I realized that I was going through a lot of things and I didn't know how to talk about them. I didn't know how to go, process the whole feelings and stuff like that. But some things that happen in life, they come as a blessing in disguise because, okay, this is not a blessing in disguise, to be honest. I feel like it's tragic. It's very tragic. There's no beauty in it. There's no beauty in what I've been experiencing in the last months or in the last few weeks. There's absolutely no beauty in it. It's just miserable, miserability, and pain, you know? So I will not say it's a blessing in disguise because it's not. But one thing that I told my therapist when she asked me what my goal for therapy was, I was like, I need to understand my feelings. I need to understand why I have these triggers, and I need to also to be able to deal with my feelings. Um, I said I don't know how to say this in German, aber mit meiner Gefühle, also mit meiner Gefühle besser zu umgehen oder so. Keine Ahnung, that's what I said. Now I feel like I shouldn't have said this in German. I shouldn't have said it. What if it sounds bad in German? What if it actually doesn't sound bad? Okay, fine. Who cares? Who cares if it sounds bad? But someone out there understands, Lena. It doesn't matter. Whatever. Anyway, like I said, timeline on healing. I had a whole big episode on this. Let me actually look it up. Yay! And I found it. Okay, this is actually a whole episode that I wanted to make when it comes to timeline on healing. It's so crazy. Let me read to you something that I wrote. I said that people tend to put a timeline on your healing sometimes. I find it better not to let people know that I'm hurting to avoid being questioned. At some point, it looks pathetic, and people only know how to relate if they have been in the same situation or are in the same situation. I think a lot of time or a lot of us fail to understand that we deal with emotions, more especially pain to be specific, differently. I have zero pain tolerance. I cannot stand physical pain. Okay, but I enjoy it. This is crazy. I shouldn't have read this. But I prefer it more than any other form of pain. Okay. Yeah, this is actually true. I do prefer physical pain, even though I cannot tolerate it. I prefer it more than emotional pain because I cannot tolerate emotional pain. It drains me so painfully. But I continue to say I get paranoid from it. I really get messy and I isolate. I would rather, I would be, it would be the end of me to hold emotional pain for over a long period of time. What did I mean with this? Okay, and then I say whenever I couldn't cry, but under a lot of what? Anyway, this doesn't make sense. I think I tried to edit it sometime, but then, anyway. I think I was talking about how when my mom fell sick, because I took care of my mom for like months before she passed. And there were times when I was failing to cry and I would end up hurting myself physically because I was trying to, I don't know if succumb to the pain that was depressing or whatever. I don't I cannot explain this, but I was trying to like get myself to find those tears, like cause myself pain so I can cry. Because I know that the moment I start crying for everything that has happened. But I was failing to find tears, especially when I needed them to come out. And I would break down in like awkward places. So this, I think I know what I meant because I preferred physical pain instead of emotional pain. Yeah, this is crazy. But I guess this topic on timeline and healing actually does kind of play a huge role on me because I think I've been holding about 4 years of pain because I didn't also mourn the passing of my mom. I literally had to take a flight the next day after her burial, and I had to move in with a German family because I was studying an au pair program, which meant that I was now living in a different culture, and obviously, not to be racist or anything, but the cultural difference between black people and white people is they deal with death sometimes differently. I stayed with this family for 6 months, and not once did they ask me how I was dealing or how I was coping with the loss of my mom, even though they knew that I literally just moved in with them a day after, she was buried. And I had to postpone my flight so I can be there for her burial, for the whole week of the funeral and stuff like that. But not even one day they asked me how I was doing. So I would literally, I think there was also a time when I felt alone in my pain. I was literally away from family. I was I was with strangers. It's so crazy now that I think about it, because then I would isolate myself. Like, you know how they say, when you're doing this au pair thing, you're not staying with these people. They are your family now. But I didn't feel like I was a part of the family. I felt like I had expectations and I had things to do, and I would feel bad when I now needed my space and I needed to be alone, because they say, oh, you have to be with, I know you're not working, you're done with your hours, but still be with the family. I didn't want any of that, and I couldn't connect with the kids because I held on to a lot of pain, a lot of anger, to a point where I think some of the neighbors actually said or told the parents that I looked like I was really angry at the kids. But I didn't even see it. I think I only saw it at the end where they told me, and I was like, okay, maybe, I tend to be really strict, or maybe I'm just holding in a lot to a point where I just bust out and stuff. But whatever, that's all in the past now. So I said again on this timeline in healing, that it's very important to acknowledge pain. That way you can also acknowledge that you need to heal. You know, wow, I feel like I was doing something really great and just looking at these notes and everything. Okay, but I start talking about pain first before I talk about healing. Yeah, this is crazy. It's actually crazy. Anyway, let's go back to, this is something about coping mechanisms and healthy responses to pain. I'll come back to it when I'm done. My friend is talking to her family and she's making a lot of she's in the kitchen, bruh. And I am in my room. Y'all can hear her laughing, right? Crazy. Anyway, let's not talk about the unpredictability of pain now. Intrusive thought, intrusive thought. I finished a book on the unpredictability of being human literally in 2 days this year. Am I not proud of myself? I am a genius. I'm telling you. Anyway, let's talk about the unexpected discoveries that come with healing, right? You know how you realize that there's hidden strength, resilience, and aspects of yourself you never knew existed. That is the first thing actually that I actually discovered after I lost my mom. I was like, bruh, I'm actually so strong. But I feel like the crazy part is I actually mourned before she actually passed. Saying mourned sounds crazy. Anyway, I mean, I had a dream that she was gonna pass I think a week before, you got 2 before she passed. And I knew that there was no way forward. And this doesn't go to say that things were bad, 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 but they were bad. And I feel like because I stayed with her for like those months, I literally saw the deterioration in her health. And yeah, so I kind of knew that things would be difficult, and yeah, it's just worst case scenario. So I actually just kind of, after the dream, I just started mourning. It's crazy saying I started mourning when she was still alive, because yeah. So when it actually happened, oh my god, let me tell you a story. During those last 2 weeks, there was a bed. There was a bed that kept like, there's a tree, there's a mulberry tree in our yard, and there's a bed I've never seen that bed before, ever in my life. And it used to stay there in that tree for a few minutes or like hours or during the day. I think it came 2 days. It came for 2 days, but I started noticing it for 2 days, and it would like make sounds. But it's such a beautiful bed. I've never seen it. I only realized it, I think, once I was in Germany that, there used to be a bed right there, but then it left all of a sudden. It's like it came, stayed for a while. I would see it in the morning, specific hours, like at specific times of the day. I would see that bird right there on that tree, and it would cry and cry. And I would look at it, and I would look at it in a calm manner, and I would always see it when I'm laying down. Oh my goodness. And you will not believe the day we were told that my mom passed away. I was in the same position, laying in bed for absolutely no reason, looking out of the window, but I didn't see the bed that day. And then, wow, okay, maybe I'm just hallucinating. I'm just hallucinating. I'm just overthinking everything, but whatever. But anyway, I'm just trying to, talk about how I realized that I was actually a strong person, that I don't know where I got the strength to actually take care of my mom or be there for her when she was sick, be there for her sister as well, because there are times when I had to suck up my own tears and wipe my mom's sister's tears, which is my mom's eldest sister. She's literally like my mom too. So there are times when I had to be the strong person, be the bigger person. Saying bigger person is crazy, but I had to make sure that I didn't cry, so I would wipe her tears, and God, but I was going through a wild wheel of emotions. Oh my goodness. When my siblings finally came, things were like really now getting really bad. And my mom was in and out of the hospital, literally. I was then having a hard time with emotions. Bruh. I cannot, now that I think back at it, I think that's where I started having this chronic episodes of mood swings. But obviously, back then, back in my country, there's not such things as counseling and stuff like that, which I only ever started to experience right now after I lost a friend. But yeah, that's when things really got tough. Yeah, that's, I feel like now I could be a kid, I could be a child, and there were older people around me, meaning my siblings, and I felt like I could let my guard down, but I didn't end up being able to do that because all of them were in pain. I mean, our mother was sick, so obviously I cannot burden any of them with my emotions and how overwhelmed I was. So I just had to keep my pain to myself for a while. But I never actually got to, you know, I don't want to say I didn't have a shoulder to cry on, because my older sister who stayed, yeah, my other older sister was always there for me. But anyway, in such times, you just realize that you have hidden strengths and resilience, and there are aspects of yourself that you never knew that they existed. Like, you're a very strong person. I have a friend of mine who always told me that, Lena, you're actually a very strong person. Oh God, I miss him. Type. I am so silly. I'm very silly. Anyway, I think another unexpected discovery is the fact that people you thought would have been there for you are not. And those who you least expected are the ones who provide the most support, you know? I don't need to explain that. Another thing is, you're not the same person who got hurt. Let me say this again. You are not the same person who got hurt. Sometimes you actually tend to grieve the person who got hurt because that is not you anymore. And if you were to be put in the same situation as the person that you are right now, you would deal with your pain in a whole different manner. I don't know if this makes sense. But when things happen time and time and time and time again, you're in a constant uh I don't know how to say it, like a constant line of just one emotion, which is pain, grief, sorrow. Just that happiness feels foreign at first. When you then feel something different or feel any other form of emotion, it feels foreign. Happiness being one of them, because I'll say this, as of recent, I have been realizing that life has just been, since the year started, I've just been in pain, in confusion. I've been more paranoid, and I've been overthinking a lot. That every time when I sense a little bit of happiness, I hold on to it so much. I literally hold on to the little happiness that I get from anyone because I don't want to feel pain anymore. And yes, happiness does feel foreign at first, but I'm still aware of this. I am still aware that there's other forms of emotions besides pain and sorrow and paranoia and mood swings and all that. I'm aware that there's good things, there's joy, there's love out there. Every time when I experience it, I tend to hold on tightly to it. I think the bad part is I hold on to not just that, but then the person giving me that form of happiness. And I end up confusing my head because tend to think, he's in love with me when he's not. And then I end up now grieving the unrequited love because I was not even supposed to think it's that deep. I don't know if this makes sense, but I just kind of summarized something there. But anyway, happiness feels foreign at first, period. Oh, yeah, I wanted to say that as of recent, I've just been realizing also that when you are hurt so much, when you've been hurt, when you've been going through a lot of emotions for a long time, you tend to think that that's your reality. You also tend to think that, okay, even when you experience a little bit of happiness, you're like, "Ah, why do I need to be happy anyway? Because I won't be in the next few minutes." It's like you've been hurt so much to a point where even when you're happy, you know that you do expect sadness at some point. It's like leaving room for disappointment, but a little bit in a sad way, not like in a normal way where you know that people are bad, people will disappoint you, and then you just leave room for disappointment. But it's in a way that it's actually really sad. Like that life will hurt you, life will throw lemons at you, and you fail to make lemonade. So you know that the bitterness will come and you cannot enjoy your happiness at that point. I don't, whatever. I hope that makes sense to someone out there. I'm tired of explaining. Anyway, let's talk about the paradox of healing. The thing that hurt you taught you something priceless. You wouldn't wish the pain on yourself again, but you wouldn't be you without it. You hate what happened, but you love the person it has made you. Woo! Now, let's talk about this. You wouldn't wish the pain on your worst enemy. You wouldn't relieve it. You wouldn't choose it again. But at the same time, you cannot deny that it shaped you. It forced you to grow, to build resilience, and it made you see things differently. And to be honest, that's the mind wrapping part of healing. You hate the storm, but you love the strength it gave you. You despise the betrayal, but you value the wisdom it left behind. You wouldn't ask for the wound, but you wouldn't imagine how you would be without the lessons. Healing is messy, guys. It's so messy because it forces you to hold like true truths at once. You can grieve what hurt you, but still be grateful for who you became. And that's real growth. That's growth right there. Now, for the last part of today's episode, I want to talk about forms of healing. Because healing isn't just about time passing, right? It does come in different forms. And sometimes you don't even realize you're healing until you look back. So here are some of the most powerful ways healing happens. On the first line, we have emotional healing. This is where you process pain and face suppressed feelings and unlearning toxic patterns, whatever you want to call it, babe. You do you. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm getting a little bit stimulated. But yeah, I feel like emotional healing has to be kind of the worst, the worst for me, because I do not like processing pain and I do not like suppressed feelings. But I do like unlearning toxic patterns, because you remember when I talked about how, did I actually talk about it? Because maybe it's actually on one of the segments that I did, when I was saying that I used to like put myself in uh what do we call it, let's say like uncomfortable situations, because I wanted to see if I would still feel the same pain. And if I was feeling that pain, then I knew that I needed to work on it. But that is something that I have absolutely unlearned, because I feel like it was really toxic. But then, is it not toxic to actually avoid the things that cause you pain? Maybe not toxic, but it's not fine, right? Because now I'm at a point where, instead of knowing that if I meet this person, it would trigger me and I would hurt, seeing them would hurt me, or seeing them with another person would hurt me, I avoid it in all costs. But then that's not good, is it? I feel like it's not good, because there will be a time when I least expect to see them and I'm in my best mood, and then I see them and then it triggers me and then it ruins things for me. This is why I always just end up putting myself, in awkward situations so that I could hurt and get over the hurt. But anyway, the second one is healing, mental healing. So, like rewiring negative thoughts, breaking free from overthinking, and reclaiming inner peace. Oh my goodness. I feel like for those of some of us who have inner conflict, this is actually crazy. This is actually crazy, because how do you reclaim inner peace? I don't even know. We'll talk about that someday. The third one is physical healing, when you recover from stress, trauma, or even just treating your body with more care. I kind of like this one, because it's something that I've been working on. I've been going to the gym, having new body goals, just recovering from the stress that I've been going through and the trauma that I've been going through. And when it comes to trauma, I've been going for therapy. Even though sometimes I don't physically want to be present and talking to the therapist, I think I've only done online once, and then usually my therapist just kind of tells me, I want you to be here so I can talk to you verbally. That is actually really helpful, because I end up talking about things that I don't actually think I would talk about, like the fact that I'm in love with someone who doesn't love me back. But unrequited love is a topic for another day. Okay, yeah. Anyway, the other one is spiritual healing, finding purpose, reconnecting with faith, and understanding yourself on a deeper level. A moment of silence. Peace. Peace be with you. I want this so much for myself. Spiritual healing, I need it. I felt like I have disconnected with God on a different level. A lot of times I want to be in church, but I just haven't found a church that kind of sets my soul on fire. But what exactly am I looking for when I go to church? I want a church where I will feel comfortable, but also gosh, this is actually also different. One thing about me is I contradict myself a lot and I overthink. My mind, excuse me, my mind is literally always going 1,000 miles per minute, per second. My intrusive thoughts are also crazy. But anyway, on spiritual healing, please invite me to church, because I've been failing to reconnect with my faith. But I found a new passion in I wanted to say meditating and my mind went masturbating. Oh my god. What? What? I'm crying. I am crying. I wanted to say meditating and I literally almost said, what the yo, anyway, I found peace in meditating. This is crazy. Sorry if I'm being loud, but oh gosh. I did find peace in meditating. And I just feel like it kind of gives me inner peace, like inner peace, where it's just complete silence. I like that so much. Anyway, next, before I say things I'll regret, the fifth one is relational healing, letting go of your past hurts, setting boundaries, and learning to trust you, like to trust again. This is actually quite hard. I feel like when it comes to relation healing, it also kind of also means about like your relations with people, especially when it comes to setting boundaries. This actually, yeah, quite nice. Um, but I feel like when it comes to setting boundaries, I want to talk about it on a different episode because I also want to talk about the fact that sometimes it's very important to like be know people from a distance. Like 2 meters in between us because you hurt me or whatever, but like stay there. I have no beef with you. I forgive you for whatever you've done to me. Yada yada yada. This doesn't make sense. Whatever. Let's go to the next one. Inner child healing. Acknowledging childhood wounds, giving yourself the love and validation you never received. Okay, I wouldn't say I had a traumatic life. Child relax. I need to relax. Okay. I wouldn't say that I had like a traumatic childhood experience or whatever. I had a really pretty nice childhood. It was rough, yes, here and there, but there's there's something called deep. What is it called again? Let me do some research. Okay, there's something called deep psychology based physiotherapy, psychotherapy. Deep psychology. Hold on, y'all. I'm so stimulated. I don't know why. Okay, deep psychology based psychotherapy. And then this behavioral therapy, which two things that my therapist recommended for me. And this one with the deep psychology based psychotherapy is it, it's an approach that explores the unconscious mind to help people understand themselves better. And I just thought about this when I was talking about inner childhood healing because she told me about things, like you have to talk about all of these things that you went through and stuff. And I was thinking because I keep saying that I didn't have a traumatic childhood life, but I know that there are things that I went through as a child that maybe I kind of pushed at the back of my mind, and I never really thought, okay, it's that deep. But then the moment I do this therapy, that's when I realized how deep and how traumatic some things might have been for a child at my age. But I would still say that I acknowledge that I didn't have a pretty traumatic childhood. It was actually really nice. But I always told my mom that she didn't like me. But I know now that she did like me actually. She did love me a lot. And when it comes to giving yourself the love and validation you never received, a lot of this was taken away from me by my peers because I did also experience bullying a lot. So I grew up really insecure about myself, my body, like a lot of things about myself. And I just recently started giving myself the love and validation because I would look at myself and think, "Ah, I don't like what I see." But then these days I look at myself and I'm like, yo, you've got to be kidding because a girl is pretty. Girl is pretty. I'm pretty, bruh. On good days, I'm telling you. Okay. So the seventh one is creative healing, using art, writing, music, or any form of expression to process emotions. Lately, I've been journaling and I've actually started writing poems, which is a passion of mine that I lost a long time ago. But I'm so happy that I'm at a point where I find myself like literally just reading novels and then I'm thinking, I could write something. I could write a poem. I could write a book. I could literally do anything I want to do. I could write a song. I could draw. I am exaggerating right now. I don't know why I'm so overstimulated. I'm literally so uh let's calm down. Let's calm down. Let's take a moment of silence. Breathe in. Oh, I already breathed in, but let's breathe out now before I pass out. Again, out. And I feel like jumping around like a kid. Anyway, there's also silent healing, the quiet, unspoken kind, where one day you realize something no longer hurts the way it used to. I cannot wait for this part. Hilarious. Anyway, I have a few questions for you guys. Ooh, haha. Okay, I have a lot of questions that I have to choose from, but I'm gonna start with probably ones. You can also comment here, or you can send me your thoughts on Instagram or your answers on Instagram. Do you believe healing ever truly ends, or is it a lifelong journey? Do you believe healing ever truly ends, or is it a lifelong journey? Another question is, what's a lesson you learned from pain that you now appreciate? What's a lesson you learned from pain that you now appreciate? And the last one is, what's a song, book, or movie that helped you heal in some way? Yeah, I do look forward to hearing from you guys. And this has been a healing episode. I am so happy. I don't know why, but I'm so overstimulated right now. I feel like I did something that really, really meant a lot to me. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for listening. I'll catch you again on the next episode. And I really look forward to hearing from you guys. I appreciate your support. I have now over 200 listeners, and this means the world to me because when I started this, I was only, then I'm really appreciate that there are people out there who actually listen to the podcast, and it means a lot to me. Thank you once again, and see you on the next one.